Hey everybody, it's Mitch, and welcome to my next video. Today, we are going to be doing another Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 video, where we take a closer look at the Druid, and I give you some more spell advice. This time, on spell levels 4 through 6. The mid-level spells, the fairly potent, but not the most potent ones. So, let's get started with this. Now, first off, we're going to be talking about level 4 spells, then level 5, and then level 6. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about just some general advice on the types of spells and the advantages and disadvantages of them. So there's blasting spells, which are great for doing damage fast. They are definitely the best at that. They're blasting spells. But the thing about them is they do their damage and then they're done, and that's the only use you get out of the spell. Then there's battlefield control, which can be extremely powerful in the right hands. If you happen to be a tactician, then guess what? Those battlefield control spells are going to be very, very potent for you. But if you're not so tactically minded, those battlefield control spells can bite you in the butt big time. So you really need to make sure you're a tactician in order to use those battlefield control spells effectively. But if you are, they're amazing. They're some of the best spells out there. But again, it requires a tactical mind. I've seen those kinds of spells backfire more times than I can count. Now, there's also buffing spells. Now, buffing spells, they're great for making yourself stronger later. They last a while, especially if you can get good ones that, will last like minutes per level or hours per level. The hours per level won't effectively last all day. If you happen to have an enchantrix in the party, then even better, because you can just make any buff last all day. Those can be really, really great. But there's some downsides. Some of them don't last forever. Some of them, the better ones, are only going to last like, a few rounds, which will get you through one combat, and that's generally about it. Other downsides, if you happen to get hit by Dispel Magic, or Disjunction, or Kaleidoscopic Doom, which is a class feature of the Sevenfold Veil Initiate. Those buff spells can really, they can go away for the other two. Greater Dispel Magic will get rid of some of them. Disjunction will just get rid of all of them, so they're just gone. Kaleidoscopic Doom is gonna, of course, get rid of them, but it's gonna get rid of some of them and then turn them against you with prismatic effects. Can be quite potent if you have a lot of buffs on. Those are kind of the upsides and downsides of the three types. So that said, let's get started with 4th level spells. All right, I'm gonna be reading off my screen a little for this one, so I might not be looking quite at the camera. Some decent spells. So we're going to talk first on 4th level about blasting spells. And there's things like Boreal Wind, which is also a battlefield control, and it has an insane area. So that's pretty nice. They also get Flame Strike, which, does a decent amount of damage, and they get it a level earlier than clerics, who get it at 5th level. And they also get Arc of Lightning and Blast of Sand. Then they just don't have any spell resistance, so yeah, no spell resistance means they're gonna work more often, which is very nice. For battlefield controls, there's Eye of the Hurricane, which is really powerful. Let's see, Murderous Mist, and Wall of Salt. So some decent options there. Let's see, for buffs, there's Enhanced Wild Shape, which isn't bad at that's actually really nice. It lets you take on spacing the word for a second, the the EX abilities. So the extraordinary. There we go. There's the word. Whew. But they let you take the extraordinary abilities of things you wild shape into, which can be really, really powerful because some wild shape options have strong extraordinary abilities that you can take advantage of to get some really nice and interesting options. Let's see, there's freedom of movement, which is just a great spell. It makes you basically immune to grapple, as well as a bunch of other stuff. Although the fact that you get Heart of Water the level before, which also does that, makes it a little less good. Let's see. Then of course Heart of Earth gives you a good amount of it gives you a decent amount of HP, as well as some other effects like DR, um, or yeah, or maybe just some. I think it just gives you more health. Anyways, you get greater resilience, not bad, and greater luminous armor. And at 4th level, they are also going to get Reincarnate. So that's a pretty nice one. That's going to let them. Basically, it's a raise dead effect. It has some interesting side effects too. Reincarnate is one that will very likely make them change what form they're in. So if they were a human, well, now maybe they're an elf. Reincarnate's really weird like that. It's a really good way to change races. Yeah. Although you're not really in control of it, so it's kind of random, and you do have to die in order to make it work. But hey, it's something. It is definitely a way to change races. Let's see. Then for 5th level, 5th level's got some pretty interesting ones. So when we're looking at 5th level, let's see. Let's see. For blasting, there's not a whole lot. Let's see. Ice Flowers is really the only halfway decent blasting one at 5th level, so that's something. There's a lot of battlefield control here. You get Call of the Avalanche, which is pretty nice. Let's see. It'll like bury a bunch of creatures. You do have to be outside, but it's not too bad. Control Winds is pretty nice. Blizzard, great spell. Some of these have just massive radius. Like Blizzard's is 100 foot per level, so like you can absolutely do a bunch of damage. Well, not damage, but like you just create a blizzard, like in the localized area. It's absolutely insane. Druids get really good spells for controlling nature for battlefield control. It's pretty nice. They're also going to get some buff spells like Animal Growth, which is going to give you some nice benefits. They get Bite of the Were-Tiger, which is going to give a lot of like benefits to your stats, which is pretty nice. Let's see. Then of course, still at 5th level, you also have Heart of Fire, which is your final heart spell, which gives you some more buffs, and if you have all of them on, that gives you 100% fortification, which is really nice. And it gives you fire resistance for this one. Yeah. Let's see. Phantom Stag is great for getting around. Plant Body gives you plant immunities. Pretty nice. You also get some interesting stuff like Baleful Polymorph. And Wall of Thorns is just, and you also get Wall of Thorns, which is a really nice battlefield control. It's really good at stopping things in their track. But again, with battlefield control, you make sure you're tactically minded and you know where you're putting it. So let's move on to 6th level spells, because there's some pretty good ones. Let's see. They get some really nice ones. They get like transport via plants, which will let them transport between like any two plants. They can be pretty far away from each other. Stormwalk, it'll let you go from one end of a storm to another, potentially even one that you create. Let's see, Greater Dispel Magic, just a great spell to have. It's really useful for getting rid of buffs and various other things. as well as someone hits you with a debuff. Greater Dispel Magic's a good way to get rid of it. Let's see, Spell Staff is pretty nice. Lets you, if you cast that on a day with when you have downtime, you can effectively give yourself an extra spell on a day where you're actually adventuring. Let's see, then you get Mudslide, which is similar to Call of the Avalanche, like I mentioned, but it can be used indoors. Really good with transmute mud to rock, because once you bury them in the Mudslide, you can then turn it to rock, and now they're buried in stone, which is really hard to break out of. It's going to take a couple of turns, but if they don't get out that first turn, well, they're probably not going to get out once you turn it to stone. Mummify, not a bad one. Let's see, Fire Seeds is just a really powerful blasting spell. Yeah, although it is a good like before combat one. So because basically you cast it and then you throw it. So basically you cast Fire Seeds and then you just like throw it, and then you just like keep the Fire Seeds in your pouch and throw them. Let's see, for buffing spells, there's Energy Immunity, which is just a great spell. Anti-Life Shell, which is quite nice. If your opponent is a melee attacker and doesn't have means to teleport or anything, then they're not going to be able to get close enough to actually hit you, unless they happen to have good reach or whatever, because you can reach through it, but it basically forces any living creature to keep a distance from you. So that can be nice. Superior Resistance is pretty nice. Shuffle lets a lot of people in your party have teleport move actions, which is pretty nice. Bite of the Werebear, strongest bite one, the strongest bite were line thing. 16 strength, 2 dex, 8 con, 7 natural armor. Just really nice. Plus blind fight and power attack. So and 3 natural weapons. So really nice. So yeah, there's a lot of really, really good druid spells. Some of the best in the game, in all honesty. Yeah, druid spells are just powerful. So yeah, that's it for my druid spells advice for 4th through 6th level. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Did I miss any spells? Are there any spells that you don't think are worth it that I mentioned? Let me know. Yeah, if you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. Maybe subscribe to the channel for more D&D 3.5 content, because I do a bunch of D&D 3.5 content. Ring that notification bell so you never miss out on a video. Anyways, as always, I'm Mitch. I'll be seeing you.